Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Richard Graves of Richard Graves Group. Today I'll be talking with Jonathan Golden. We're going to talk about a few current affairs. Glad to see everyone. We will be doing the shows on Wednesdays. That's going to start, I believe, the second week of May, if not the third. I'll get back with you guys, let you know. But their show will be on Wednesday evenings. That's when we're going to get together and do the shows. But today we're going to talk about a little current affairs. We're talking about the situation in Chicago, unfortunate fatal shooting of Officer Areanah Preston. A very tragic situation happened on Chicago South Side. We're going to talk a little bit about another unfortunate situation that ended up in someone's death in New York about Jordan Neely, a homeless individual or unhoused individual that was killed in New York City in an altercation on the subway. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the new mayor-elect of Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson. So without further ado, let me bring my contributor on from Detroit, Michigan, Mr. Jonathan Golden. What up, bro?
What's happening?
How you doing, man?
All right.
All right. All right. So we'll talk a little bit, man. I'm going to go ahead and run this video to show a little bit about what's going on with this Areanah Preston situation, the officer that was killed. So let me go ahead and set that up. And basically, I guess it was a robbery that went bad. Well, all robberies are bad, but it went bad. It ended up with them killing her and stealing her badge and her gun. I believe there was a standoff with SWAT apprehending some of the people. I heard there's 4 or 5 perpetrators. You got 2 juvenile males and 2 juvenile females. So it's just a bad situation for all around, unfortunately. But we'll talk about it. Let's hear. I'm going to go ahead and get this story up, and then we're going to hear what the news has to say.
Into the weekend murder of a Chicago police officer.
Nate Rogers is live in Avalon Park with the very latest for us. Nate?
Yeah, that's right. Anthony and Natalie. Fox 32 has confirmed with sources that multiple persons of interest are being questioned right now by Chicago detectives in this case. Take a look at your screen. The city releasing the officer's police photo about 2 hours ago, also officially determining her death as in the line of duty. A 3-year veteran of the department assigned to the 5th District on 111th. Now, she was on track to receive her master's from Loyola University later this week. SWAT teams were seen last night at 76 and Bishop after a man barricaded himself inside a home there. Sources telling Fox 32 he's among the persons of interest being questioned in this case. 24-year-old Areanah Preston was killed right in front of her own home overnight Saturday after just getting off of work, according to police. Multiple sources saying it was a robbery attempt. After police arrived on scene, Preston was laying in the ground. A fellow officer, in fact, transported her body to U of C, where she was pronounced dead. We spoke to Preston's neighbors, who said the immediate area is normally quiet of violent crime.
My son, he said he's seen her quite a few times. He's like, oh, we got a police in the neighborhood. That's good to know. But
just to see it on the news and hear about it, does it break your heart? Like,
break my heart. I was walking my dog and people, come and hug and crying. And it's just sad. It's really sad that she, like you said, she's going to graduate with her master's. And I just couldn't imagine, my daughter got her master's a couple of years ago and how proud I was for somebody not to even make it.
Yeah, now no official word just yet from police on charges in this case. And we have been in touch with Brandon-elect, Mayor Brandon-elect's camp, and they've confirmed that he has been in touch with the victim's family. We also know that there is a prayer vigil scheduled tomorrow at Area 5, where the victim worked. That vigil taking place at 6 p.m. It is the latest here in Avalon Park. Nate Rogers, Fox 32, Chicago.
Okay, bro. So what did you gain from that exchange? Did you?
So let me say this. My sister-in-law, I wasn't close to her. I actually never met her, but it's my brother. And they have the same last name with me, of course. And it was a robbery attempt. Wasn't a robbery attempt. He robbed her of a car and shot her in the stomach, and she died. Okay, and that was this year, a couple months ago, if not, I think maybe a month ago, maybe a couple months ago, and she died. So, and the young person was caught. This was caught on camera, and they caught him. So this isn't this is close to home. You know what I mean? Still my brother. He was grieving, and even though I did not know his wife, I still feel it as a family member. You know, so this is the same thing. Same thing happened. And anything other than justice, I think that anybody who would do this to another human being is suffering from some type of ills and woes. That being said, that does not excuse actions. It does not exclude the need for justice. We don't want to dismiss the value of life, though someone may have some emotional, mental issues, socioeconomic issues where they feel like they need to rob people.
All right. Hold on, cuz. All right.
What?
I'm gonna say this, man.
Hold on, just let me finish. Let me finish.
All right.
Where they need to do that. At the same time, I'm not saying we need to be empathetic to anybody who shoots and robs, particularly women. Yeah, I said that. And at all. Because we need justice. I don't think that this is something we take on and make an agenda item politically either. The only thing that should be discussed, the only thing we should be thinking about is the family, the victim, and justice. If we want to talk about how we prevent this, that's another conversation that should be held, not right now, if that makes sense.
All right. I'm gonna say this much, cuz this is what I'm gonna say. Number one, it is a tragedy, right? And I'm not hearing none of that. Somebody who felt they had to rob somebody bullshit. Not hearing none of that.
I'm not either.
Hear me out, cuz. All right. I'm not hearing none of they ills and woes. I'm not hearing none of that. All right. These are people, all right, that live in the most prosperous country in the world. And I don't care if they live in the hood. Living in the hood, you got more access to food, shelter, water, and clothing than you would almost anywhere else in the world. That being said, for what story I read earlier, they stole her badge and stole her gun. All right. So what was that about? All right. I'm gonna say this much, because I believe in treating people when they get locked up, to treat them humanely, to try to rehabilitate them.
No, I don't believe in that.
You need.
I disagree with that.
Right.
Depending on what they do. I
What's
disagree with that.
I think we have to be, unfortunately or fortunately, we have to be consistent with how we treat people. All right. And at the end of the day, my thing is this, because I think I'm a Christian. I believe people can change. I also believe in a thing called evil. All right. Hey, do me a favor. All right. And I believe that some people just evil and they can change. I'm not saying people can't change. All right. But what I am saying is I'm not trying to hear none of that. Let's not make it political, because if this was a white cop that shot her, it'd be political real fast, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So why does it not need to be political? Why is there not a political response when it is? I don't care if the people who shot you is black and juvenile. All right. Does that mean there shouldn't be a political response? Does that not indicate that we have a serious public safety problem, a serious public health problem, a serious public policy problem? All right. Meaning that at the end of the day, well, what are we going to do about it? One, okay, we got them. Lock them up. All right. They should go to prison for a very long time. And I hope they get rehabilitated during that time. But that's all. That's it. That's all. And if anything, most of the shootings on the south side of Chicago ain't by white police officers. You get one white police officer shoot one black criminal. It ain't got to be somebody who is in the middle of a crime. All right. And you got protests for days, people tearing up stuff. This woman, a sister that we can all relate to, all right, you and I have black mothers, black sisters, black nieces, black daughters. This girl, 24 years old, beginning her life, got her life took by some knuckleheads. All right. So yeah, it is political. What are we gonna do about it? Where's the protest for that? Where's the protest? Where are the white liberal allies?
Come on, now we're going.
Yeah, where are they at now for the problems that are really? Chicago's crime rate is lower than it's been ever. If you look at the total crime rate, it's lower than what we've had, but it's higher in areas like the South Side where black people are at. It's higher on the West Side. That's where you got all this stuff going on. All right, so this has affected black folks directly. This young black woman's life is ended. By all means, a positive person, beautiful sister, living her life. All right, trying to even to the point where she tried to be in the police to try to help and serve the community, make things better. All right, so if anything, we should be if we can protest for a criminal. All right, and I'm not speaking about anybody specifically, but there have been times when the police have shot actual criminals and people have protested. Okay, so if we can protest for a criminal, then why can't we protest and demand policy change for safer neighborhoods when it's a 24-year-old black woman?
Because it doesn't fit the agenda of the party in which most black people vote for, which is the Democrats, the biggest race baiting party ever. But we don't look at that as racism. When anytime there's a racial issue, here come the liberal left, the extreme liberal left. Let me not lump them all together. The extreme liberal left with an agenda item, and black on black crime does not fit the agenda of the liberal left.
No, because they really don't care. Let's be real. And I'm not going to say that. I'm not saying this to say the Republicans care either more. I think there's racism in the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. There's racism on the right and the left. And it always amazes me when I talk to liberals and I say there's racism in the Democratic Party and the left. They look at me like deer in a headlight. Especially black Democrats. They act like I lost my mind. And I say, you African Americans on the left are the purveyors of the ones that primarily say there's a thing called systemic and institutional racism. But you believe that within the system of politics, the system of government, that one institution, being the Democratic Party, is somehow absolved from that.
Mm-hmm.
Where you get that from? So you can't see it there. But if we look at the policies that are being sought after, defund the police. And yeah, I don't care if it means, let's take some money from the police and give it to social services. First of all, it's a false choice. We don't need a choice between this or that. All right. Especially when the crime rate is skyrocketing in certain neighborhoods with people that look like us. All right. And it's not that blacks are any more prone to crime than anybody else. It's obviously, we know there's a concentration of poverty. Poverty leads to black market economies. It leads to all kinds of different things. All right. That bring us to this. Education system in Chicago sucks. All right. Negatively affects black people. But at the end of the day, Chicago's controlled by Democrats. So that's not the Republicans' fault. So that's why I'm speaking about the Democrats and not the Republicans. That's a different conversation. All right. So in this particular case, you can have a criminal that gets a criminal who gets shot by the police with a gun in his hand. Well, he wasn't pointing at the police, and you're protesting and you're breaking into Portillo's, taking out cake. And this new mayor is one of the people that would say, well, they're just frustrated. But this sister who looks like our sisters, who looks like our mothers, who looks like our daughters, gets shot by whoever in the crew of the knucklehead shot her. All right. Killed her, shot her 9 times. All right. But no, we're going to do a prayer vigil for that one. All right. And since our white allies are the ones that supposedly bring all the attention to everything, where they at? Where they at? Because it doesn't fit their agenda. Their agenda is not so much pro Black lives. It's anti-law enforcement. So anytime they get an opportunity to bash law enforcement, they use us as the convenient face to do so. Meanwhile, they press for policies that aren't going to help the black community at all.
And I was going to go there with it. Not only that, Rich, we're being puppeted by our emotions of things that happen in the news that may seem to be racist.
Let's go. That's our next story. All right.
Maybe seem to be racist. White cop and a black individual automatically is going to come with a stigma of racism. And the left, the liberal media, is going to manipulate our emotions and show us those things that will trigger us to feel like that this is a racial incident. And that doesn't dismiss that there have been some racial incidents.
Yes,
not saying that at all. But then sometimes, like I always say, Rich, we have to have a methodology to ingest the news that's coming to us. Why is it coming to me? Where is it coming to me from? Who's reporting it? Why are they doing it right now? Midterm elections. Always a big story comes out midterm elections. Always some type of gun control issue comes out midterm elections. Hello?
I'm not going to say, I'll say this much. I may not think it's simply that, but I do know that our news media is a propaganda machine. All right, be it for the left or for the right. It's a propaganda machine.
Mostly for the left. There's only one conservative station.
Well, it's not so much one conservative station. That I'm not. Here's my thing. I'm not saying that. I know we say Fox News is conservative and CNN is liberal and MSNBC is liberal.
They are.
But I think that there's other media that may be heavily more conservative than news television, cable news television. If you go onto AM radio, for example, there's a whole network of radical conservative, or I shouldn't say radical conservative, I say radical right-wing positions that you hear. Absolutely. But you did say, you did bring up one thing I wanted to talk about, and you had brought up where we're talking about what stuff that's put out that's made to be racist, or made to look like a racist situation. And this is that situation. We're going to talk about the situation with Jordan Neely over in New York on the subway train with the they like to love trumpeting. It was a Marine who did it. I think that's because, with that anti-law enforcement position on the left is also an a very strong anti-military side too. It all goes to the establishment, police, military establishment, the left, liberals, progressives, generally anti-establishment. So that's what they do. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at that real quick. I'm going to run that video and we can see
subway system.
According to reports, a grand jury may be meeting today to decide if any charges will be brought in connection with that death on a New York City subway. Meantime, a group upset about the killing of a subway performer by a Marine veteran assembled on the subway tracks themselves, a move officials called dangerous and reckless. Les Trent has details, and we remind you this story has upsetting video.
Outraged protesters caused chaos on the New York City subway system over the death of a one-time Michael Jackson impersonator. There were 13 arrests as they climbed into the tracks inches from the electrified third rail. Look at this guy. He's jumping up and down. And you can see the lights of a train in the tunnel.
This assembly is unlawful. You are ordered to disperse.
Transit officials are calling the actions reckless and dangerous. And we're learning more about the homeless man, 30-year-old Jordan Neely, and the U.S. Marine veteran who put him in that deadly chokehold. Moses Harper was a longtime friend of Neely.
This man was rail thin, begging for food, and unarmed. He had not put his hands on one of those people. How is it justified that someone gets to choke him to death?
Neely was on the city's top 50 list of homeless people urgently in need of assistance and treatment. A month before his deadly encounter with the Marine, a city outreach team found him at Coney Island and reported he was aggressive and incoherent. He could be a harm to others. The 24-year-old Marine, Daniel Penny, was reportedly having problems adjusting to life after the military. His attorney says in a statement, Daniel, with the help of others, acted to protect themselves until help arrived. Daniel never intended to harm Mr. Neely and could not have foreseen his untimely death. But Neely's family is calling the statement a character assassination.
Muted. There we go.
All
right, we was both
the
muted
witness
there.
that said, the witness that was walking down the street with the reporter saying he didn't deserve this, that, and the third. We've been showing part of the video. Now, my question is there more to the video that led to the choke? He had him in a rear naked choke. That's an MMA move. And then I saw the other black person holding Neely's hands from doing things. So now we got two people in the wrong, one black and one white. This isn't merely a white thing, because if this is going to be a murder case, the black gentleman holding the person's hand is going to be an accessory. Okay, so this ain't you can't go race on this one. And so we have to be careful to see all of the video, get all of the evidence. I hate when people protest before you get all your ducks in a row. Is it a shame that he got choked on the freeway? I mean, on subway. It probably is. You don't know what. We don't know. We just don't know from the time we saw him talking about him wanting food, and then we see him in a choke. Now, it is my strong opinion that from the talking to a choke, there's video in there that they're not showing us. And this is what I think should happen when the news does this. They should be not only fined, but there should be some criminal charges when you report things like this. Why? Because these things incite protest and sometimes riot. It should be criminal for the news to report only half of what they see to the public, because you're inciting emotion and you're inciting riots and you're inciting protests without getting all the information. I think the news should be fined, and somebody needs to go to jail for doing that. There was an editor who signed off on that shit, and he needs to go to jail. Do not report anything unless you're going to show the entire video.
Well, first of all, they don't know. I've looked at about 15 different news stories from different networks, from the Times, from the Post, from Fox News to CNN to the BBC. Mm-hmm. And nobody talks about what happened. How did we get to this rear naked choke? Mm-hmm. What happened? The best I got is he got on, and I think I was reading that to you. He gets on the train, and from what they're saying, let me go ahead and see what I can find. This is an NBC News story I'm reading. All right. And they said, they're talking about who he was and talk about the rear naked choke and all right, what happened. It says that Neely got on the train and began, this is what the guy who videotaped said, began to say somewhat aggressive speech, saying he was hungry, he was thirsty, and he didn't care about anything. He didn't care about going to jail. And he didn't care that he gets a big life sentence. So, since the person on the train, the Marine on the train, no one else on the train knew anything about this man prior to him getting on the train, unless they personally knew him, which I don't believe anyone did. All right, someone gets on the train. I'm going to tell you right now, cuz if you get on the train, let's say I'm sitting by myself, or I'm sitting with my daughter, or I'm sitting with my son, and you jump on the train talking like that. Now I got my eye on you. Right. If you come around me, cuz, and you start talking crazy, I'm not here for your mental health issues. I'm sorry that you was crazy, and I'm sorry that you had all these problems. But it's about me and mine. But at that point, and if you get aggressive, when somebody look, and I'm tired of black folk acting real brand new about this. They want to say this is some racist, white supremacist thing. Like this Marine was looking for a brother to kill. He was on some neo-Nazi crap. Right? Dude was on the train minding his business. Dude gets on with this. And black folk want to act, and especially black folk from New York and Chicago, who've been on subways and L's where the crazy person gets on, start talking crazy, but they're not stupid. They might be crazy, but not stupid. They will say some crazy stuff, but if you respond to them a certain way, they'll go on to the next person and try to see who's going to give them something.
The same thing happens here on the bus system.
Yeah. So if you tell me you don't care about going to jail and you don't care about getting a big life sentence, I don't know what you have in the mental health crisis. I don't. So if you move a certain way, I'm not going to choke you. That's not my style. You're getting the brakes beat off you, though, real quick. All right, especially if you're going towards my child, it's over with. All right. Now, as far as the choking thing, I need to know what happened that got us there. Was there a struggle prior to that? Was there any fists being thrown? We don't know because no one's saying anything. All these stories are leaving that out, leaving out what facilitated it. But more importantly, when we get to having this protest, this is what I'm talking about. We don't even know really what happened here. We got these morons out here almost about to step on the third rail, talking about no justice, no peace. All right. We don't even know what happened. What we know happened is there was an altercation between two citizens, one who happened to be white, one who happened to be black. The only thing they probably shared in common, if he is having issues, the Marine, he might have PTSD, his own mental health issues. And we know this guy has established mental health issues, which were documented as some people concerned he could be a threat to others. So the news media and people like Mark Lamont Hill and a whole bunch of, Ibrahim Kendi, the anti-racist theory people, well, they got to sell some books or make sure you watch their YouTube video. All right. Now, well, this is a racial incident. Being black and unhoused is not a crime. Okay, what did black got to do with it? You know what I'm saying? This was two people that met on the train and it's ended tragically. And we need to get the facts. So we don't even know what this is, but we're going to make it a racial thing. We got people out there protesting. All right. Yet this sister gets killed by people who we know meant her harm. There is no ambiguity here. We know clearly what happened. All right. Not a peep. We're going to have a prayer vigil, though. All right. We're not going to demand that, that the prosecutor of the city of Chicago actually start prosecuting people, locking them up. All right. Instead of letting people go willy-nilly with no bail. All right. We're not going to demand that there be more police on the street patrolling, maybe walking the beat, even late at night, not just to protect the community, but also to get to know the community. You walk in the beat, you get to know the community. Nobody's demanding anything. Nobody's demanding a systemic change, but we're going to have we got protests for a situation that we've made to believe is racial, and we don't even know what happened. Facts ain't even out on it yet. So this is what I'm talking about, and it's like, come on, people, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? But that's just me. And the fact that they keep focusing on this guy being a Marine. Let me put this out here. I'm a Marine. Okay. Unless you show me proof this guy was Force Recon or MARSOC, Special Operations or something. Because people say, well, that just proves that he was dangerous. That's Mark Lamont Hill going to say, well, it's like being a black belt in karate. So all of us are just that dangerous. No, we're not.
Right.
Marines are dangerous with a gun. M16. Now, if he shot him, I'll say, okay, well, yeah, we're pretty dangerous with that. Yeah. All right. Other than that, we get a little physical, physical combat training. All right. But you ain't Bruce, you're not Liam Neeson's, you're not the Batmans. Okay. Yeah. It ain't that serious. So I think that they're focusing on the Marine Corps aspect of it again to be anti-establishment. He's not a cop, so they can't say, cop, white cop, it's a Marine. So now you go to his military service because that's the next establishment. I'm anti-military, anti-law enforcement. So now we out here protesting like fools. What they should be protesting in New York is why, if this man had this mental health issue, why was he on that train anyway? All right. That's y'all city. That's y'all Democratic elected mayor. You got a Democrat in the state house in Albany, New York. So why don't they have some place for people like Mr. Neely who need this help? Why aren't they funding that? Well, they're funding, camps for, housing for migrants that have come illegally across the border that are dropped off in New York and Chicago. They're funding that. They're funding their health care and things like that, which, hey, I'm all for it. It's humane. Do it. But what about the homeless people in New York already, like Mr. Neely? What are you funding for them? Are you funding mental health? Are you funding, they always want to talk that. They can pull out money for everything, but they want to defund the police when it comes to mental health for our own citizens. Find that hypocritical, But I digress. You know,
No, we
I'm just saying.
ain't no digression. When we talk about, we talk about 90% of Black people vote Democratic. 90% of those Black people live in Democratic cities with Democrat elected officials. And a lot of the states are Democratic as well. A lot, not all. A lot, not all. All Democratic states run. The city of Detroit, Democratic mayor, Democratic city council, all Black everything, Democrat, Black, everything Black you can name. Black run city. Still ain't a nickel worth of dog meat as far as school system, city services, taxes are high as hell, a lot of bureaucracy, red tape, and this is all a democratically run city. So I don't hear shit about Republicans. Democrats got the cities, our cities, and Black people on lock. So now what? So now who's the problem? Is it the Republicans or the Democrats? Oh, but when the Democrats run shit and it's a shithole city, we ain't got nothing to say about that. We worried about Trump. Don't worry about Trump. Worry about your mayor, your Democratic mayor you elected, and your city is a fucking shithole for your students, for crime, city services suck.
Well, I'm going to say this much. You're in Detroit. I'm over here by Chicago. I know Chicago public school system is horrible. All right. That lottery system, I think, is racist. All right. It negatively affects Black schools and Black communities.
Who put it in?
All right.
Who put it in
Schools
place?
What's that?
Who put the lottery system in place?
The Democrats.
Oh! Wait a minute. What do you mean, Richard?
If you look at Chicago,
Detroit,
no, Baltimore, all right,
Detroit,
Detroit, Baltimore, Chicago,
Memphis,
different cities. Yeah. When you look at these cities, they're Democrat run, and sometimes in Democrat run states. But we want to talk about racism for the right when you're being redlined, you're getting piss poor services. Your education system continues to get worse. Your economic system continues to get worse. All right. And then, but it's all about what white folks are doing to us or what the system is doing to us, as opposed to looking at what are we doing for ourselves. We are electing people. We're not holding those people accountable. And they keep giving us the same, if not worse, than what they gave us before. While they want to promise us things like reparations, make a land of make-believe things like reparations that ain't going to never happen. All right. Because they like playing emotions. They play emotions, and this is what you get. So I'm going to say this much. I'm not telling anybody to vote Republican. I'm not telling you to vote Libertarian. I'm telling you, whoever the hell you vote for, make sure you hold them accountable to do right by your community. So that's it. Make them hold people accountable. We all vote, or some of us vote, because in Chicago, I think the mayor's election had a 30% voter turnout.
Same thing here.
Right,
brother.
But for those of you who do vote, hold your elected officials accountable. That's all I'm saying.
So that's kumbaya, Rich.
No, it's just I'm saying, as far as solution, I can bitch all day about what they're doing. We know what's happening. We see the results of it. Black folks have voted Democratic in Chicago for years. And what have they gotten since the end of the Civil Rights Movement? Worse neighborhoods, worse schools, worse job opportunity, worse business opportunity. Even what the left calls environmental racism. You got your communities are polluted. All right. This is from your Democrat elected officials, from your city council to your mayor. But for some odd reason, you're worrying about Trump and what he's going to do, as opposed to holding accountable those that are right there in your face.
And your Democratic governor, let me tell you about the Democratic governors. Pandemic hit, unemployment, people weren't getting paid for 6 months. Did you hear what I said, Rick?
But being fair, didn't that happen in most states, even Republican-run ones?
That I don't know. I can only speak about Michigan, and I only care about
Okay.
Michigan. I elected the governor here in Michigan, and I don't give a
Okay, so
good
you're talking
goddamn.
about the
I don't
governor
give
of
a
Michigan.
good goddamn whether it was happening to other places. In the age of information technology and technology, it should not have taken 6 months for people to get their unemployment. When you shut us down and we can't go to work.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, guys. With that whole system, that's a failure of all government. There is no way that Amazon should have a better and more secure system than our state agencies or our federal agencies. And that's a Democrat and Republican problem because what
No,
they
it's
have
not.
not done.
In
Well, no,
this
even
state, it was a Democratic problem.
I'm saying
Period.
on their watch is when it now, and I'm going to be fair.
I'm going to be the
What I'm
truth.
saying, I'm being fair because that's not a problem that happened because of the pandemic. These systems have been bad, antiquated through Democratic administrations and Republican administrations. Neither one of them, I'm not giving the Republicans a pass. I'm not giving the Democrats a pass. I'm saying neither one of them have done the infrastructure investments necessary for this not to be the case. And that's a problem, but that goes back to the same thing I was saying, holding whoever the hell it is accountable.
Yeah, but so here's the problem. Here's the problem with niggas. We
Oh,
we,
Lord.
we invest. We voted this governor in. The governor told us we couldn't go outside. George Floyd happened, you niggas outside. Well, I thought we had a pandemic. What your ass doing outside? And then she outside with them protesting. Bitch, wait a minute. I thought we couldn't be within feet. But you outside with buffs on because the niggas have endeared themselves to you and want to give you some damn Cartiers or doing protesting, but we're supposed to be quarantining. Oh, it's okay. Listen, the coronavirus is going to take a break because we're be mad and we upset. This is the bullshit I'm talking about. And unemployment takes 6 months, right? Now, don't tell me about no damn police brutality because all the governor got to do is say, look, you cities, you don't get no more money until you clean up your police department. That's all she got to do. You don't have to get no legislation, no nothing. The governor can make one stroke of her pen and stop all the police brutality if they wanted to, but they're not. Because they're on the same side and the Democrats are just as racist as the Republicans. But you niggas have fell for the banana in the tailpipe. Your governor can write one stroke of her pen. You ain't getting no more of our dollars unless you clean up your police department.
Okay, well, I'm going to be a little bit more Her Majesty.
We don't need no acts of Congress. We don't need no bills passed.
I'm going to say this.
But you don't want to know why they're not going to do it? Because the Democrats and the Republicans get money from where? The fucking police unions. And it'll never happen.
Okay.
Wake up.
First of all.
It'll never happen.
First of all, the Democrats and Republicans get money from people that dwarf any public union. Number one, including the police, firefighters, teachers, whoever. I don't go with the narrative of blaming the police unions or the teachers unions or whatever, because at the end of the day, that's small potatoes compared to how big corporations control our people. Now, that being said, I think in the case of the governor doing what you said in your state, that comes back to the people that voted for her to make that demand. No one is going to give you something you're not asking for.
They don't know that the governor controls the funding to the police.
But here's my thing. The fact that we have improper civics where people don't understand or don't choose to know. Well, if you're walking around with one of these computers in your hand and you don't know how government works, that's your fault.
I say that all the time.
All right. So that being said, though, even though you said it much more colorfully than I, I'll speak His Majesty since I watched the Royal Coronations.
I'm glad you said his. It's not her no more.
I know, but as a member of the Royal African Society, I'm going to say this. But and my membership may not be current, but it has been current in the Royal African Society. But I will say this: that we do have to hold people accountable if that's what we want. If that's what we want, but people like you, Jonathan, need to tell people that's what we should be asking for. But unfortunately, we don't have the ear. I think there's a purpose. I think there's a purpose in the black talking heads that are paid by the left and the right. All right. the ones on the left, particularly, they're not telling people what they should. They get their attention to get them upset about police shot somebody. But now, okay, this is what we need to do. Speaking of people getting upset about police action, we're going to move on real quick since we looked at a protest in New York City about a homeless man who was killed by another. Looked like the vet was particularly homeless the way he was looking. All right. But two citizens in New York that they want to make out to be some white racist thing. I am going to talk a little bit about our new mayor in Chicago. Okay. And I got to share this. I didn't get to really talk about this before because I was a little hot about the whole election. But we're going to go ahead and take a look real quick at Brandon Jackson. And this is the weekend. This is after the weekend where those 300 kids was tearing up downtown Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So, just get an idea of where his anti-law enforcement position really looks like. Oh, there we go.
It was a big day, and although his inauguration is still more than a month away, his speech today to the General Assembly seemed more like a campaign speech as he was looking to win votes from the lawmakers whose support he will need. But today, Johnson also addressing the chaos over the weekend in Chicago. Brandon Johnson with a very warm welcome from a joint session of the Democrat-controlled General Assembly.
I'm here today to establish a productive, collaborative, and energetic partnership to invest in the people of Chicago and the engine of this economy here in Illinois.
Johnson making his pitch for investments to deal with pressing problems for Chicago, including getting money for education and getting at the root causes of violence. He also talked of more funding for police mental health.
And the truth is, we do have shared values and shared challenges. We have seen the kind of crime and violence that has torn families and communities apart for too long.
But afterwards, Johnson speaking publicly for the first time about weekend violence that caused chaos in downtown Chicago and along the lakefront.
The violence that happened over the weekend and the violence that happens too many weekends and too many days, of course, we don't condone that behavior.
Johnson denied he was sending mixed messages over the weekend in a statement where he said the violence can't be condoned, but also said it was not constructive to demonize youth. Today, he was doubling down on that sentiment.
So don't give people false choices. We get to do both, you all. It is well past due that we put an end to this dynamic that somehow not make it. Look, demonizing children is wrong. We have to keep them safe as well.
Oh, beta male, soft serve, seersucker. That old beta male, soft serve, seersucker, suit wearing, sissy, sassafras motherfucker. This ain't demon-sizing you. You keep twerking on the motherfucking car, bitch. Listen, beat their ass. Send them home.
You sound like Corey Holcomb, man. I'm gonna say this.
What you talking about? Demonizing you. First of all, mace them motherfuckers. Yeah, I said it. Mace them. Send their ass home. What the hell you own the car twerking? Nigga, man, please, man. If he don't stop demonizing youth, demonize them, you out there acting like a damn, grandma said, you out there acting a damn fool. You need to come on. You need to get your ass beat. This ain't demonizing you. She on there twerking on the car. And yeah, but you know what? I'm demonizing. Bitch, if you want to you twerking on the car, you got a demon, and you need to be exercised out of you. And maybe this baton to do it.
All right. Well, in His Majesty's, all right. Obviously, we're not supporting police using excessive force on these young folks.
That's a matter of opinion what excessive is.
Well, there's some pretty clear law about it now. But I'm going to say this. Of a city of 2.97 million people, 150, 200, even 300 kids downtown Chicago is not the youth. The youth was at home. The youth was at work. The youth was working on their homework, getting ready to graduate. Those children, right? Those children down there.
That's what we saw.
I'm going to say those children down there. All right, those children down there. They do need to be addressed and dealt with. All right. And they need to deal with consequences. That's the problem. They need to be arrested. I'm not saying ruin their lives and give them prison sentences.
No.
I'm saying arrest them, and part of their punishment should be cleaning up what they tore up.
Amen.
Serving, hey, you got to work with streets and sanitation every weekend for the next 4 months. You're going to be cleaning up your neighborhood and downtown. And see, here's the thing. People have to have consequence. You can have all the programs in the world. You can have all the mental health. You can have all the job fairs and all the summer programs. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to want to do that, number one. Number two, you're still going to have that small percentage of knuckleheads that need to be addressed a certain way because they mess it up for all the other kids that's out there that's trying to live their life. I didn't show the video, but those people down there, they beat up. It was a couple that came downtown to hang out, young couple, and they beat them up. They had to get rescued. They had tourists running back to hotels. That's not good for Chicago. And the mayor is sitting there talking about, let's not demonize our youth. Look, man, but here's the thing. His religion of liberalism, to the degree he has it, he's far left. All right. They cannot ever agree with law enforcement, the establishment order, because they're pushing for, the, the anarchy style things, and nothing's ever anyone's fault. There's no accountability unless you're holding the establishment accountable, but you can't hold individuals accountable. So yeah, hold the police accountable. But those kids, well, they're just kids. We need to put some summer programs together. And then if you saw when he was talking to the General Assembly, he was basically shaking them down, saying, Chicago is the engine of the economy in in Illinois. But, more money for schools. The question is, what are you doing? The accountability, what are you spending the money on? Because at the end of the day, you have this lottery system. You have these kids in these underperforming hood schools, and a few of the best and the brightest get to go to the magnet college prep schools. That's not fair. You need to bring up the general level of each of the schools.
We're gonna talk about that too. I disagree with you, but go ahead.
I know. Well, I know you have your theory. My theory.
I
just
disagree with you on that.
Well, tell me what you think. What do you think?
So I don't know how you do it there. I don't know how to do it. So let me not speak on that. But so my daughter goes to it's a school choice, but you have to test to get in, right? You got to test to get in. 100% graduation rate, 90% go on to college. It's that type of school. It's a number nine school in a black-run city, black-owned city, suburb, a number 9 school in the state. Okay, that tells you how great it is. You have to test.
So it's not in the city of Detroit, right?
No. I'm in the suburbs.
Okay,
but it's a predominantly black suburb, ran black everything.
Okay,
excellent school, number 9 school in the state. And you have to test to get in, and you have to write an essay and all that. So you have to you can anybody from the county, I believe, anybody from the state can go there, but you just got to test to get in, right? I don't believe in putting the excellent students with the not so excellent students. Fuck that. No. If someone is excelling and they have the aptitude, then you put them in a program of which meets their aptitude. If you got a bunch of nigga kids, I don't believe they should be with the excellent kids. No, I don't. Because what you're doing is now you're holding back, because I used to be in the Center for the Advanced Studies in the Arts myself. What you're doing is holding me back from going further. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, here's how
not me as a student, my job to help another student be.
Here's how I see it, sir. Sort of like in a university. All right, you have your honor students, you have your regular students, and you have remedial ones. Your honor students are going to be up here. Your remedial ones down there, but everybody else is mostly in here. So in the suburban schools in DuPage County, let's say like a Naperville school, you have your honor students, the ones who are going to graduate magna cum laude, summa cum laude, all that stuff. You got your average kids, and you got the ones that need help. All right, and they're in their own set of programs. IEP programs here, honors programs there. These schools are all 9 and 10 schools. These kids up here are not suffering because of the middle or the bottom. So what you have in Chicago, this is the problem in Chicago. you want to allow for this group up here to test to be able to go to a magnet school. So you take them out to school. So you got this. Then you got your IEP kids, all right, but without parental involvement, they become kind of complicated. Then you got the kids that should be in an alternative school, all right. What I'm saying is these schools are allowed to remain at a 3. So nobody in this group is getting what they need. The majority of the kids or the minority of the kids that need that help. What I'm saying is there should be investment in those schools so that that big group here, the one that is going to go, this group here is Harvard, Yale, Princeton. This group is Michigan State, Northern Illinois University. That's that group. This is where we're missing out, that group. We have a lot of the talented 10th blacks. They're going off. But the group that should be competing with everybody else is being failed because their schools are allowed to be 3s and 2s, while the magnet school in Chicago is only 10. That's my problem.
So here, but
the majority of the population is not being served properly with a curriculum that allows them to compete with the average white student at a university. Therefore, the student retention rate is lower, and that group is not. They're dropping out. They're not. So they're not prepared to go to college.
Here's the problem.
All right.
Here's the problem. That's in theory.
No, that's what's happening.
No.
That's what's happening.
Hold on. It's similar here. We call it different, and it works a little bit different, but it's similar, if you will. Similar. Okay. Similar, not the same. And here's the problem. My daughter goes to the upper echelon school, right? My son goes to the regular school. The difference is night and day. Here's why. You got kids that come cross 8 Mile. 8 Mile is the dividing line between the suburbs and Detroit.
We all saw the movie, cuz.
He said the movie, okay?
Okay.
There's a different understanding about education for people south of 8 Mile in inner city. They're escaping Beirut, okay, from the city. And they're coming over here. But they're coming over here for better education, but they ain't bringing the better education mindset. I talked to a teacher, Southfield Public Schools. That's where my kids go, Southfield Public School. I said, what do we do about school system? What is it? What is the difference? He said, there's only one difference in any school system, in the suburban schools, high echelon, and the lower class schools. It's not funding. That's bullshit. It's not funding. It's not money. It's not even fucking resources. He said, there's one thing. What do you think that is, Rich?
Parental involvement.
Involvement.
All right, but see, here's the thing, bro. When we're talking about inner city schools, all right, again, I hear what you're saying. That comes with a unique set of problems that need to be addressed. Okay, that some need to be addressed more holistically. But you're right. You're going to have higher single mother rates. You're going to have parents not at home, parents not able to meet. So this is where I call to the carpet the Democrats of Chicago. Okay, this population is still being missed. These are the kids that are going to end up applying and getting accepted to and going to Northern Illinois University, Western Illinois University, Southern Illinois University, the public universities, junior colleges, things like that. This is where the majority of the workforce, this is not going to be this little bit up here at the top. They're going to Harvard. They're going to Yale. That is not the majority of the workforce. So to get our kids in the city, because mine ain't in the city, but if you're in the city, to be able to compete, you have to bring up the curriculum. And you listen to the curriculum. You have to. No, hear me out. The curriculum has to be brought up because it's not. The curriculum, they're not prepared. It's not the teacher, the parent involvement is one thing. The parent involvement manages to make the demand that the curriculum is there. The parents in the suburbs, here we go. If we don't like something, we go complain and we want our kids to learn.
Right.
The parents are not doing it there because half the time they're at work, not at home. All right. You have inner city, single family households, black women, single black women, most of the time working 2 or sometimes 3 jobs, contrary to the narrative of them being on public aid. They're only working. All right. This is the problem. Father's not in the home, a problem. This again goes back to fathers not in the home being a problem. But I'm saying outside of going to control everybody's individual life, what can we do as a society to try to equalize that? And again, to equalize that curriculum, like that mayor said, having an after-school program, having a before-school program, keeping the kids involved, having an over-the-summer program, keeping the kids busy and involved, and giving them actual tools to succeed. These kids, I'm not saying they're all going to come out and go to Oxford, but they should be able to go to Joliet Junior College and be successful. All right, they should be able to go to get a CDL and be successful. They should be able to go to automotive mechanic school and be successful. They should have trades in these schools, all right, that they took out.
One thing I was going to mention.
That they took out. But all this, but that's part of the curriculum. I'm saying the curriculum has to be better. So I'm saying that as far as what we can do as a society is try to mitigate that in order to break that cycle of the single parents, the poor single parent thing. If that's what we really want, if that's what the Democrats of Chicago really want, then they need to invest in those children. And it's not about more money. It's about holding accountable for what the money you get. In the state of Illinois, Chicago, there's more money spent on a student in Chicago school than mostly any other city in the state. So it's not about how much, it's about what you demand. The Chicago School Board gets away with murder, all right, because nobody's holding them accountable. As long as we got the magnet school for the smart kids, but for the majority of the kids, those black kids, nobody's advocating for them. So they're not getting nothing. They're getting the bad end of the stick, and they're not able to compete. And that establishes the whole cycle of poverty. Mm-hmm. So we got to break that. So I'm saying that the Chicago public school system and this whole way of doing things, in my opinion, is criminal. All right. And it is systematic. It is an example of
systematic racism from the
racism. But it comes from the system of Chicago is run by the Democratic Party, not the Republicans. So we can find examples of systemic and institutional racism within the right. I'm not debating that. I have criticized that. You have heard me. But I ain't dealing with Republicans in Chicago. All right? I'm not. So I have to talk about the Democrats and what they're doing, what the left is doing. So my thing is to the people of the city of Chicago, hold your people accountable. As we say, get your people. All right? Because your kids are suffering. And as such, you're putting them in a situation where they're going to continue to suffer as adults. You know, so that's all I'm saying about the whole magnet school. I'm not saying you can't have some honor schools for those super bright kids so they don't be bothered, where they can go listen to the violin, play concertos and stuff like that while they do their assignments. But I'm saying the majority of the population doesn't fit into that. So we have to equip them. Like I said, have trades available in schools, certificate programs available in school, have a direct pipeline to the junior colleges in the city, you know, so they can you can go to the junior college, get a 2-year degree, become a paralegal. You can go get a 2-year degree, become an auto mechanic, you know, computer design, graphic design, all kinds of stuff. That pathway needs to be established by preparing them for these kids can't even do well in a junior college because the curriculum level is so low because they don't care. It's not about not having the money, it's just not caring. You know, so that's all I'm saying. That's what I think is criminal and racist. And it's just a negative effect in Chicago.
But the only other thing, they do need to put trades back in the schools. The other thing is, you know, I have several people that I know in inner city schools, and they're losing teachers. Hell, they're losing teachers here in Southfield Public School. My son goes to. You want to know why? Disciplinary issues. They got to spend too much time, the hour that they got, with discipline. So curriculum, good curriculum or not, if I can't even get to the damn curriculum because you got nigga kids disrupting the class, what good is the curriculum? See, we still go back to the family nucleus being broken down.
But let me say this before we go further, because I'm gonna get all the hate mail.
I don't care.
Number one, the Richard Graves
group. Send the hate mail to me.
The Richard Graves group does not condone the language being utilized. However, the Richard Graves group allows free speech, and Mr. Jonathan Golden is his own person. He can say what he wishes on this platform. However, I will clarify, when he says N-word children, he is not talking about their genetic or racial makeup. I'm sure this would apply to some white children, or some Latino children, or some Asian children. He's talking about a mentality, not a skin color. All right. And that mentality is not just in the hood. All right. It could be anywhere. All right. So I just want to make that clear before anyone gets in their feelings that they
I would concur.
Okay.
But when I said what I said, y'all felt what I meant.
Yeah.
You understood
there's some
what
people
I'm
that
talking about.
what does ex-plan say? I lose my people in the words I choose. Sometimes people want to be offended and they don't want to hear what you're saying. And I'm saying, people, listen to what the man is saying because he's making a point. Most of our children are not in that category, are not the ones trying to kick up stuff and make it difficult for everybody else. What I call it, I call it those brothers in the hood that hold the hood hostage, that minority. All right. That's why I'm all for alternative military schools. If you or knucklehead want to come in gang banging, all right, you want to come in who riding, whatever, okay, we got somewhere for you to be. If you don't want to be here being productive, you're not going to terrorize the other students as they're here trying to learn about automotives, diesel technology, whatever we got for them. You're not going to disturb that. You can go over here and learn how to drill march, learn the A, B, C's, and D's, all right, learn how to add. And if you act right, we'll transition you out when you graduate to Job Corps or some other program in order for you to get the job skills for you to need. And that's another thing I noticed. I looked up Job Corps, man. I'm like, why aren't more kids going to Job Corps?
They don't know about it.
How do they not know about this,
They
man?
just don't know.
I was mad. I'm like, I could have, when I got out the military, I could have did a little something. They offer all kinds of certificates and certifications that I was just completely shocked by, man. I had no idea, I encourage you guys, if you guys know young people that don't have a job and are looking to find their way, man, go to Job Corps. Go on there and check it out. They have all kinds of things for these kids that I didn't even know about. You got to be 16 to 24 years old, low-income individuals. They help you get a career. They have stuff for nursing, and this stuff is all helpful to you. And, I know some kids that look down upon it, like, how some people look down upon junior colleges and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be no fool. Go in there and check and see what they have for you. And then this is a public service announcement. All right. I'm not affiliated with Job Corps, but I have looked at the program. And I honestly believe, hey, if you got young folks out there that can't find their way or, are looking to find their way, looking to get into something, let them go there because they have some great programs, man. I mean, even if it's welding, they got, maritime stuff, it's amazing. I should do a whole show on it, honestly speaking, because I'm trying to find out what they got. And I'm over here on the website right now, kind of go through it.
I'm looking at it too.
Yeah, because we both, me and Jonathan are both is trying to get all our information. I just didn't know what you offer, man. That's why I hate government stuff, because they don't just get to the point.
Right,
people, I need to be able to let people know what they have available, and I can't even get to. They're trying to get me to sign up. I'm not trying to sign up. I'm an adult. I have a job. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get to a different page where I can get. They have a. Okay, let's go train. Let's see. Can you show me the programs that you got? I know people like, what? This how to get here. Okay, so, of course, all right. It's loading up. Okay, so let's see what they got. If I can get to it, website once I jacked up. But there's different programs in electronics, being an electrician, carpentry, things like that. A lot of stuff that's to be very helpful for young people who really need the help. And I'm a big proponent of it. It's like, come on, let's make it so people can get what they need, as opposed to being locked out the job market and claiming they have to do other things for, other things they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Get them in something that's going to be helpful, But yeah, they have all kinds of different stuff, man. And like I said, I'm a little upset I can't get to the page that I saw when I saw this. But I know they have nursing programs. They have, teach you how to do customer service, teach you automotive technology,
transportation, construction, automotive, machine repair, hospitality, homeland
There
security.
you go.
advanced
Yeah, you know,
manufacturing, renewable resources and energy. Man, come on,
yeah,
man.
and I'm trying to figure out why my webpage is acting funny. You know, yours is working fine. Oh, there we go. You know, I guess mine went full page or something. I don't know. But you see the stuff that they have to offer. So again, I'm gonna say, you know, if you know any young folks, really look into that, because honestly, I had no idea that they offered that much stuff. You know, because you know, I heard about it before, and I heard some kids win, and you know, others didn't. You know, because they didn't want to leave home. You know, they think they missing something in the hood, but you ain't missing nothing in the hood. That's a fact. You know, get there and learn something so you can go on with your life and make some money for yourself and your family. You know what I mean? With that being said, I preached enough about Job Corps. We have to do a real public service, but I'm thinking, you know, I'm gonna do that and talk.
I just
talk
signed my son up, man. They're gonna send me information, bro. Just turned 16 last week. So I'm on it.
Man. I mean,
I didn't know
had
that.
no idea.
Yeah.
You didn't, I didn't, man. I accidentally came across it. The family, there was a young man that, you know, was supposed to go, chose not to go, ended up in jail, of course, because he thought he was missing something. You know, everybody thinks they're missing something when they're young, you know, and they found out, you know, you ain't missing anything, you know. So here's eligibility. You must be a legal U.S. resident. You must be low income criteria, 16 to 24 years of age. You can't have certain criminal convictions. I think sex offender probably one of them. And you can't be actively on probation or parole. You get tech training. You have to, if you're a minor, you need your guardian sign out. You can't be using drugs. All right, and you can't have behavioral problems that could, you know, cause an issue where you get everybody out. You know, you hurt somebody, or you know, somebody who's trying to do what they do. You know, and they do a lot of vocational program training and a lot of career development and even career transition. If you are somebody who, you know, gets, you know, who has gotten off track with their jobs, and there's a office in Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico. All right. And those are the regional ones, but there's offices all around. So 75% of the people that come out of Job Corps get placed in jobs, and 60% join the workforce or enlisted in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And 13.5% went on to more academic programs with furthering their collegiate education. So, like I said, good head start. But anyway, I preached enough today. You know, Jonathan has done his Corey Holcomb today. You know, I'm gonna get you know, talked to by the black folks on Facebook, our friends. Like, you let him use. Look, man, he's a grown man. You know, I gotta, man, say how he feels. And
they may not like the word, but they know what I'm talking about.
Well, some people like to say like to act brand new. You know that everybody want to act brand new, and they want to be righteously indignated. With that being said, me and Jonathan gonna sign off. Man, we've been on a little over an hour. We'll be back either Sunday or next Wednesday. Me and Jonathan get together and, you know, make it work for what day works for us through the week. But it's probably gonna be Wednesday in the evening. We'll find a good time that works for him, because he's an hour ahead of me over there in Motor City. You know, and but we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have to get together and do a live show. I'm going to come up there and visit and just drop in and kick the bobos. All right. But anyway, I'm gonna holler at y'all, man. Y'all take it light. Thanks for watching. I look forward to your comments. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel too. All right. Holla. All right. Peace. All right,